The Rising Out of the Men at Connacht, at Cruachanee. Translation by Joseph Dunn. A mighty host was now assembled by the men of Connacht, that is, by Ailill and Maeve. And they sent word to 3 other provinces, and the messengers were dispatched from Maeve to the Manya, that they should gather in Cruachan. The 7 Manya with their 7 divisions, to wit, Manya mother-like, Manya father-like, Manya all-comprehending, 'twas he that possessed the form of his mother and of his father, and the dignity of them both. Manya mildly submissive, and Manya greatly submissive, Manya boastful, and Manya the dumb. Other messengers were dispatched by Ailill to the sons of Maga, to wit, Ketch the first, son of Magar Anluan, the brilliant light, son of Maga, and Macorab, chariot child, son of Maga, and Bashkel, the lunatic, son of Maga, and Ain, the bird, son of Maga, and Doche, son of Maga, and Scandal, or insult, son of Maga. These came, and this was their muster: 300 armed men. Other messengers were dispatched to Cormac Conlongus, the exile, son of Conover, and to Fergus MacRoich. They also came, 300 their number. Now Cormac had 3 companies which came to Cruachan. Before all, the first company, a covering of close-shorn black hair upon them, green mantles and many-coloured cloaks wound about them, therein silvern brooches, tunics of thread of gold next to their skin, reaching down to their knees with an interweaving of red gold. Bright-handled swords they bore, with guards of silver. Long shields they bore, and there was a broad grey spearhead on a slender shaft in the hand of each man. "Is that Cormac yonder?" all and every one asked. "Not he, indeed," Maeve made answer. The second troop, newly shorn hair they wore, and manes on the back of their heads fair, comely indeed. Dark blue cloaks they had about them. Next to their skin, gleaming white tunics with red ornamentation, reaching down to their calves. Swords they had with round hilts of gold, and silvern fist guards, and shining shields upon them, and 5-pronged spears in their hands. "Is yonder man Cormac?" all the people asked. "Nay, verily, that is not he," Maeve made answer. Then came the last troop. Hair cut broad they wore, fair yellow, deep golden, loose-flowing back hair down to the shoulders upon them, purple cloaks fairly bedizened about them, golden embellished brooches over their breasts, and they had curved shields with sharp chiselled edges around them, and spears as long as the pillars of a king's house in the hand of each man. Fine long silken tunics with hoods they wore to the very instep. Together they raised their feet, and together they set them down again. "Is that Cormac yonder?" asked all. "Aye, that is he this time," Maeve made answer. Thus the 4 provinces of Erin gathered in Cruachanee. They pitched their camp and quarters that night, so that a thick cloud of smoke and fire rose between the 4 fords of Ea, which are Achmoga, Achperkna, Achslisson, and Athcoltna. And they tarried for the full space of a fortnight in Cruachan, the hostel of Connacht, in wassail and drink and every disport, to the end that their march and muster might be easier. And their poets and druids would not let them depart from thence till the end of a fortnight, while awaiting good omen. And then it was that Maeve bade her charioteer to harness her horses for her, that she might go address herself to her druid, to seek for light and for augury from him. The Foretelling, translation by Joseph Dunn. When Maeve was come to the place where her druid was, she craved light and augury of him. "Many there be," said Maeve, "who do part with their kinsmen and friends here today, and from their homes and their lands, from father and mother, and unless unscathed every one shall return, upon me they will cast their sighs and their ban, for it is I that have assembled this levy. Yet there goeth not forth, nor stayeth there at home, any dearer to me than are we to ourselves. And do thou discover for us whether we ourselves shall return, or whether we shall never return. And the Druid made answer, Whoever comes not, thou thyself shalt come. Wait then, said the charioteer, let me wheel the chariot by the right, that thus the power of a good omen may arise, that we return again. The charioteer wheeled his chariot round, and Maeve went back again, when she espied a thing that surprised her. A lone virgin of marriageable age, standing on the hind pole of a chariot a little way off, drawing nigh her. And thus the maiden appeared. Weaving lace was she, and in her right hand was a bordering rod of silvered bronze, with its 7 strips of red gold at its sides. A many-spotted green mantle around her, a bulging strong-headed pin of gold in the mantle over her bosom, a hooded tunic with red interweaving about her, a ruddy, fair-faced countenance she had, narrow below and broad above. She had a blue-gray and laughing eye. Each eye had 3 pupils. Dark and black were her eyebrows. The soft black lashes threw a shadow to the middle of her cheeks. Red and thin were her lips. Shiny and pearly were her teeth. Thou wouldst believe they were showers of white pearls that had rained into her mouth. Like to fresh Parthian crimson were her lips. As sweet as the strings of lutes, when long sustained they are played by master players' hands, was the melodious sound of her voice and her fair speech. As white as snow in one night fallen was the sheen of her skin, and her body that shone outside of her dress. Slender and very white were her feet. Rosy, even sharp round nails she had, 2 sandals with golden buckles about them. Fair yellow long golden hair she wore. 3 braids of hair she wore. 2 tresses were wound around her head. The other tresses from behind threw a shadow down on her calves. The maiden carried arms, and 2 black horses were under her chariot. Maeve gazed at her. "And what dost thou here now, O maiden?" asked Maeve. "I impart to thee thine advantage and good fortune in thy gathering and muster of the 4 mighty provinces of Erin against the land of Ulster, on the raid for the kine of Coolnia." "Wherefore dost thou this for me?" asked Maeve. "Much cause have I. A bondmaid mid thy people I am." "Who of my people art thou, and what is thy name?" asked Maeve. "Not hard, in sooth to say. The prophetess Foretelling from the She of Cruachan, a poetess of Connacht I am." "Whence comest thou?" asked Maeve. "From Alba, after learning prophetic skill," the maiden made answer. "Hast thou the form of divination?" "Verily have I," said the maiden. "Look then for me. How will my undertaking be?" The maiden looked. Then spoke Maeve. "Good now, tell, O Foretelling, prophet maid, how beholdest thou our host?" Foretelling answered and spoke, "Crimson red, from blood they are. I behold them bathed in red." "That is no true augury," said Maeve. "Verily, Conover with the Ulstermen is in his pains in a vein. Thither fared my messengers, and brought me true tidings. Naught is there that we need dread from Ulster's men. But speak truth, O Foretelling. Tell, O Foretelling, prophet maid, how beholdest thou our host?" "Crimson red, from blood they are. I behold them bathed in red." "That is no true augury. Cuscramend, the stammerer of Macha, Conover's son, is in Inishcrushka, Crushka's isle, in his pains. Thither fared my messengers. Naught need we fear from Ulster's men. But speak truth, O Foretelling. Tell, O Foretelling, prophet maid, how beholdest thou our host?" "Crimson red, from blood they are. I behold them bathed in red." "Owen, Durhach's son, is in Ratharher, the eastern Rath, in his pains. Thither went my messengers. Naught need we dread from Ulster's men. But speak truth, O Foretelling. Tell, O Forethelm, prophet maid, how beholdest thou our host? Crimson red from blood they are, I behold them bathed in red. Celtcar, Uthacar's son, is in his fort, at Lethglas, in his pains, and a third of the Ulstermen with him. Thither fared my messengers. Naught have we to fear from Ulster's men, and Fergus, son of Roich, son of Ochi, is with us here in exile, and 300 with him. But speak truth, O Forethelm. Tell, O Forethelm, prophet maid, how beholdest thou our host? Crimson red from blood they are, I behold them bathed in red. Meseemeth this is not as it seemeth to thee, said Maeve. For when Aaron's men shall assemble in one place, there quarrels will arise, and broils, contentions, and disputes amongst them, about the ordering of themselves in the van or the rear, at ford or river, over who shall be first at killing a boar, or a stag, or a deer, or a hare. But look now again for us, and speak truth, O Forethelm. Tell, O Forethelm, prophet maid, how beholdest thou our host? Crimson red from blood they are, I behold them bathed in red. Therewith she began to prophesy, and to foretell the coming of Cuchulainn to the men of Aaron, and she chanted a lay. Forethelm's Prophecy Translation, by Matthew Boyd. I see a blond man, who will work weapon feats, his skin scored with wounds, the hero's light above his head, his brow a festival of talents. He has a hero's 7 pupils, gem-like in both eyes. His spear points are bared. He wears a red shirt with clasps. He has the loveliest of faces. He flusters the womenfolk. A young man of beauteous complexion. In battle, he takes on a dragon's dimensions. In his rage, he looks like Cuchulainn of Mirthmene. I don't know if he is that Cuchulainn of fairest fame, but I know this. The army will be drenched in gore because of him. I see a tall man on the plain, bringing the army to battle. In each hand he carries 4 short swords for doing incredible feats. He attacks with his gaebolga, and his sword with the ivory hilt, and his spear. He can inflict them on the army, wielding each weapon its own special way. This man in a red cloak as battle array, he strides on every battlefield. He attacks them over his left wheel rim. The mutant destroys them. I see his form has changed from how he looked before. He's already started into battle. Doom is coming if you don't take care. I think the one coming for you is Cuchulainn, son of Sualdov. He'll flatten your full forces, cut you down in droves. You'll leave him with 1,000 heads. The prophetess Forethelm gives it to you straight. Gore will gush from soldiers' skins. The hero will hand out full helpings of harm. He will fell fighters. Rout will take the men. Of Clanna Devad make shin. There will be butchered bodies. Women will wail because of the smith's hound. Oh yes, I see him.